You were relentless. You stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed until he was dead.
Just sex me, kill me, whatever. And about the children, they think you enough.
And I'll tell you point blank, I have not 1 ounce of remorse for Teresa Ann's death.
This is Kamia Gamet. The 31-year-old is on trial for the murder of her 38-year-old boyfriend, Marcel Hill. The couple lived together in Michigan, and in May 2018, Gamet attacked Hill in a fit of rage. She vandalized their apartment and used various items as weapons. When police arrived following calls from neighbors, they found Hill dead and Gamet covered in his blood. The crime scene included a bloody frying pan, a knife with bloodstains, and a smashed floor lamp. Prosecutors alleged that Gamet had repeatedly stabbed her boyfriend with the knife. Gamet's defense in court was equally shocking. She claimed she mistook Hill for an intruder and acted in self-defense. However, this explanation fell apart upon scrutiny, as she should have recognized Hill. Despite her assertions, evidence revealed that Gamet inflicted 12 stab wounds and hit Hill multiple times with the frying pan. She continued to insist it was self-defense and that she was being falsely accused. Here's Gamet persisting with her defense.
Basically, at trial, the way I was portrayed, mostly everything was lies. There was a little bit of truth, but mostly I was convicted off of lies.
Judge John McBain was not swayed by Gamet's claims. Diana Banks, a family member of Hill, was called in to provide a victim impact statement. What Gamet did while Hill's aunt addressed the court was truly disturbing. As the aunt read her statement, Gamet showed no remorse, rolling her eyes and even smiling. After the aunt finished, Gamet's reaction was just as unsettling.
Well, he attacked me.
This time, Judge McBain adopted a firmer approach, warning Gamet that he would resort to duct tape if she continued to interrupt.
And you're gonna shut your mouth or I'm gonna have some duct tape put on it.
Nevertheless, Gamet disregarded the warning. Although court officers were unable to locate duct tape, Aunt Diana managed to finish her statement. By then, Gamet's behavior had already angered the prosecutor. Before sentencing Gamet, Judge McBain made his feelings about her actions.
You were relentless. You stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed until he was dead. I hope you die in prison as well. And if this was a death penalty state, you'd be getting the chair.
And sentenced her to life in prison without the chance of parole. Yet, even with his level of disrespect, it was still not as extreme as Randall Moore's behavior. We now turn to the Polk County Courtroom, where Randall Moore is on trial for the murder of his ex-wife, Teresa Marie Lynch. In November 2011, Moore kidnapped, sexually assaulted, and murdered Lynch. The situation escalated after Lynch left Moore and obtained a protective order against him. Unable to move on, Moore kidnapped Lynch, resulting in a hostage situation.
It wouldn't work, and it was like something you see in a movie, and it was just kind of surreal, and it was a mess.
This is Officer Todd Rowland, who was shot by Moore while responding to distress calls from the apartment. This happened shortly after Moore fired at Officer Rowland. Fortunately, he survived the shooting.
Can I tell you something?
Well, you can tell me whatever you want.
I didn't want to do any of this.
Okay.
But I'm telling you, all I wanted was my son. I just wanted to see my 7-month-old baby. That's all I cared about.
You just wanted to see your son?
Yep.
He said that he was upset because she wouldn't allow him to see his kids.
Did he mention anything at all about this being an accident?
No.
During a 911 call, Moore explained his reasons for murdering his wife. Eventually, the police were able to force their way into the house and take him into custody. Moore admitted his guilt when Judge Joel Novak confirmed the verdict on all counts. The judge allowed the victim's family to present their impact statements. What follows is one of the most disrespectful court scenes ever seen. As Lynch's mother delivered a heart-wrenching statement from the stand, Moore interrupted with his own remarks. Listen as he disrupts Lynch's mother's emotional testimony.
What you did to my daughter, Teresa Ann Marie Lynch, was evil, hateful, and despicable. You are now dead and rotting and repulsive to me.
She hated you.
Thank you, Judge.
She hated you. You're a loser. I have not 1 ounce of remorse for Teresa Ann's death.
But Moore had more to add. When given the chance to speak, he expressed no remorse for his actions and bluntly addressed the victims' families. He tried to justify his crimes, offering only a minimal apology to Officer Todd, the person he shot. However, Judge Novak had the final say. He condemned Moore's behavior with outrage and disbelief, voicing his shock at the level of Moore's callousness.
You give a new meaning to the word evil. I've never, ever seen anybody like you.
Ultimately, Moore received 3 life sentences for the murder of Lynch, plus an additional 25 years for shooting Officer Rowland. Although that's a lengthy prison term, is it as harsh as a life sentence without the possibility of parole? That was the outcome for Camia Gamet. But the cases of disrespect and disregard for justice don't stop here. Next, we turn to Keith Allen Ferguson, who received a similar sentence. This is 40-year-old Keith Allen Ferguson. According to police, Ferguson murdered his wife, Tiffany Ferguson, and her father, James Weber, in November 2014. Hailing from Kalkaska County, Michigan, Ferguson faced 12 felony charges, including first- and second-degree murder and kidnapping. Tiffany Ferguson, 42, had chosen to end their 17-year marriage. During a heated argument over the divorce, Keith assaulted Tiffany and shot her in front of their 4 children. Keith then drove the children to Tiffany's parents' house, where he fatally shot her father. Afterward, he fled to a nearby home, took the 59-year-old female homeowner hostage, and barricaded himself inside. The standoff lasted 7 hours before Keith eventually surrendered and released her. In court, he showed no remorse for his actions. Throughout his trial, Ferguson appeared indifferent to the proceedings, frequently expressing his frustration by cursing at the judge, court officials, and everyone in attendance.
You. Okay. Well.
Before the judge delivered his verdict, Tiffany's best friend, Carla Sietang, gave the victim impact statement. Carla described how Tiffany had lived in constant fear of Keith and had long viewed him as a significant threat.
All right, I need to have you raise your right hand for me.
I'm leaving this
Okay,
part.
all right.
Just pull me back from my cell.
Okay, stop.
All right.
Keith stated that he no longer wanted to see or have any contact with his children, prompting Judge George Mertz to question his mental state. As part of a plea agreement, Keith admitted guilt to the murders of his wife and father-in-law, leading to the dismissal of the remaining 10 charges. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Just when you think things couldn't get any more horrific, we come to one of the most egregious cases of all, Ronnie O'Neal 3.
I just saw my dad holding a shotgun and my mom, and mom screaming at him.
This is 29-year-old Ronnie O'Neal 3, who is currently standing trial for the horrific murders of his 9-year-old daughter, Ron Nivea O'Neal, and his 33-year-old girlfriend, Kenyatta Barron, in Riverview, Florida. On March 18, 2018, Ronnie shot Barron and then brutally attacked his daughter with an axe, leading to her death. Additionally, he inflicted serious injuries on his 8-year-old son, Ronnie O'Neal 4, by stabbing him. That evening, Barron made a desperate 911 call before the connection was lost. Less than 10 minutes later, Ronnie himself called 911, claiming he was under attack by white demons and accused Barron of trying to kill him, providing his home address during the call. As if this tragedy weren't enough, Ronnie then set the house ablaze with gasoline, believing everyone inside was already dead. Thankfully, his son managed to escape despite suffering from severe burns and stab wounds. Detective Mike Blair was on the scene and ensured the boy received medical attention, allowing him to survive. Ronnie fled the scene but was later apprehended by the authorities. Ronnie's trial commenced in 2021, and he decided to represent himself after being deemed mentally fit to do so. During the proceedings, he cross-examined his son, who had recovered and was testifying for the prosecution. Ronnie, however, claimed his son was lying and insisted that the evidence presented by the prosecution was fabricated.
My mom ran in my sister's room. My mom ran in my sister's room into the closet. And then my dad said, come here and come kill this. She was like stumbling outside, and then I just saw my dad chase her. My dad told me to walk around and say some words.
And do you remember what words your father told you to say?
Allah Akbar.
Initially, Ronnie claimed he acted in self-defense and filed motions to support that argument, but the judge dismissed them. He was ultimately convicted on 7 charges, including 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of aggravated child abuse, and 1 count of attempted first-degree murder. Even after the verdict, Ronnie showed no remorse for his actions. Before sentencing, Judge Michelle Cisco, who has nearly 2 decades of judicial experience, made the following statement.
Did I hurt you that night of this incident?
Yes.
I did. And how did I hurt you?
You stabbed me.
Ronnie was sentenced to 3 life terms without the possibility of parole. If you think these cases are shocking, just wait until you see the next one.